All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Green White Checkered TV. We have tonight, actually this afternoon, maybe this evening for some of you, the Area 51 Super Speedway Series here tonight, season opener for season 8. As you can see, this is our schedule coming up. So you've got obviously tonight 75 laps Talladega. As you can see, there's gonna be a lot of Talladega coming up. To say we're kind of the schedule's been adjusted a little bit. It seemed like Talladega was putting on the best racing, so that's been the adjustment that's been made on the kind of on the back end here. So obviously the one break we will have between the 27th and the 11th is we will be off on the 4th of July. So it kind of made things a little tough to kind of get all the schedule happy for everybody. So with the All-Star race tonight, as I had to bump this race up a little earlier to try to avoid some conflicts for those that might be wanting to watch that race as well. So hopefully you can enjoy this one, then kind of switch over to watch the NASCAR All-Star race here. So right now qualifying is underway. And that's going to, again, start off our Season 8 here with the Area 51 Racing League. And the way the season's going to go, it's going to be 8 races to determine our top 8 in the points. And then we'll have a 4-race playoff. No bonus points, no winner-take-all finale. It's just going to be whoever can do the best out of those final 4 races will be our Season 8 champion. And I'll say with me in the booth, I'll say my normal partner in crime is still on the road, heading back home. So tonight I've got one of our last season Super Speedway drivers. I've got... sorry, I'm blanking on words here as I'm trying to talk at the same time. I've got Matt Wagner in the booth. I say he's also one of our Indy regulars as well. So Matt, I say I know you kind of got pretty familiar with these cars pretty quickly, obviously in the Super Speedway format. So what are you looking forward to see for these guys this evening? Say a few new names, a few new faces, and of course some of our regulars.
I see a lot of new names and a lot of new faces. I'll be interested to see how some of the top guys deal with them tonight. But as far as I'm looking forward to see how Gabe Butler does do qualifying here. I was just watching him. He's just simply amazing how he does it.
Yeah, these guys are really good at what they do on the qualifying little tricks of the trades, things of that nature. And with that, I believe qualifying has just completed here, so we'll go ahead and pull up our starting grid for tonight's event. So on pole position is going to be the number 5 of Kevin Freeze by 3 thousandths of a second over Dale Willoughby. Then you got Gabe Butler, Dean Wilkinson, Todd Merkle rounding out our top 5. And then 7th through 12th, you got Raymond Rittenauer, Jack Walls, Quabi Brooks, Les Levy, Nick Monfretti, Charles Johnson. And then you've got Donnie Lyons, Peter Travica, Jim Brooks, Jay Hilliard, Todd Siebels, Dave Thatcher, and Matt Quick will be rounding out our drivers for this evening's event.
So Matt didn't qualify. That's pretty interesting. See how he makes his way through the field.
Yeah, so I feel like that's kind of one of Matt's things that he can do. He's really kind of Mr. Fuel Save. It'll be really interesting to see what Matt is able to do, like you mentioned. Yeah, I'm gonna be curious to see. So we'll pull up our race info for tonight, so you can see again. Oh, actually, I don't have some of the info on there correctly, so I'll hide that away real fast and pretend like it never happened. Alright, now I've got it fixed. Let's go and pull back up that race info. Apologies again. So you can see tonight, 75 laps is the distance here at Talladega. Fuel nose, Matt, sounds like it's going to be in the low 20s, maybe 20 to 25 range. So that's going to, or sorry, actually I should say 20 to 22 range, depending on how much you're kind of working the traffic and such. So say fuel nose, it sounds like it's going to be a 3-stop one here for sure. And then you can see 65 degrees ambient temperature, track temp at 89 degrees. So I'll say that definitely won't be an issue. I think it's just all going to be about kind of the pit strategy, getting on and off pit road. If we can get those green flag pit stops, I think that's going to be where things really kind of, I think that's where we're going to see the biggest difference made in these races. right, so as the cars come through the backstretch here again, so initial start is going to be on the green flag, and then if there are any restarts, then from there the leaders will have control of those restarts. And I think that's going to be very crucial in these races to see kind of what's going to be the best approach for some of these drivers. You're going to see some want to be up front, control the pace. Some are going to probably just kind of cruising towards the back, try to stay out of trouble, keep some of that, try to save some of that fuel, maybe go an extra lap or so. And then, of course, for a lot of drivers, I think one of the big things we're going to see tonight as well is going to be just kind of that strategy of trying to make that top line. So this is the track where you can really make that third line happen. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see who's going to be the first of these guys to try to make those moves happen. So 19 drivers going to be taking the green here tonight. Again, a little lower count than we will expect to see the rest of the season. Again, the time change definitely threw a few drivers off. Apologies again to those who weren't able to make it tonight, but so we'll definitely look forward to seeing you all here in the coming weeks as they come through the tri-oval here. It's going to hand it over to that number 5 of Kevin Fries. Say a little bit of a change on the car number there. He's gone from the 25 to the 5. No change on what he's able to do up front. He's going to lead this get things underway here at Talladega. You see right off the bat there, Matt, say the inside line definitely is prevailing, say the short distance around. And so also when you see those two, the 1 and the 5 hooked up together, there's no surprise that those two are going to be able to power their way towards the front here early on. I say also we talked about number changes. That number 2 of Todd Merkel, he's gone from the 81 to the 2 car. So say Todd, same paint scheme as say always a familiar looking car on that number 2. Say that new car number though, I'm gonna have to take a little bit for me to get used to. So you might hear me call him the 81 a few times, but it might take a few races. But I'll get it all lined up here after a bit.
Top line maybe starting to work up here a little bit. 5 pushing 7 up top there.
Yeah, that's Dean Wilkinson locked on to the back of Dale Willoughby. So I've been talking to Dale during the offseason. So he's mentioned some of the bad luck he's been having. So this is one of those things, one of those seasons. So a new season, hopefully try to turn things around. So like you said, though, he's going to have a mirror full of Dean Wilkinson there pushing him through the backstretch, and that's going to be the thing here. Is you're of course shorter distance around around the bottom of the track. It's going to be a little quicker through the turns, but the top line really does build some momentum. And you saw there, Gabe Butler in the 1 actually he decides he's going to jump up in front of that number 7 car, and so that's going to allow him to propel himself now to the front, get around that number 5 with Kevin Fries. So let's say give that lap lead to the number 1. You see actually brought Dale Willoughby right along with him there, so moved Dale up into that second position as well.
See how well Eric Lowry pushes 55 of Dean Wilkinson all the way up to the front. Looks like they're making it work here pretty good, Gaio.
Yeah, popping on board right now with that 07 on Eric Lowry, and he's exactly right. I mean, and that's what it's going to take with these cars. I said these cars you can lock bumpers, you can tandem pretty easily. Say obviously last season kind of started the season off with the Cup cars, and some of the draft changes just made it really tough to do anything with. So made the switch over to the Xfinity cars and kind of brought the racing back to what we're used to seeing here. So like you mentioned though, right now that 071 Eric Lowry doing a really good job hitting that 55 of Dean Wilkinson right to the front there. Almost got to the side of the number 1 Gabe Butler, but now again through the turns that inside line going to prevail just a little bit. But as they get down the back and actually see the 1 on Gabe Butler, who's actually jumping down to the inside here. Not sure if something's going on or if he's just kind of trying to get to the back here. Maybe doesn't want to be up front at this point in the race. And yeah, you see him sliding right back up in traffic here. So everybody gave him plenty of room there. You see Matt Quick, he's going to be able to tag along, pick that number 1 up. So looks like looked like initially you thought Gabe was going to maybe try to control this pace, but he's definitely rolled off the back here. He's just going to kind of go cruise control, looks like now.
Just going to get that extra little bonus point of getting a lap lead there and just kind of dial out to the back.
Yeah, exactly right. So there are the bonus points, one for leading a lap, another for leading the most laps. There's also a bonus point for being the highest climber from starting. If you start in the back, you work your way to the front. That's also a nice way to get some bonus points as well. So I'll say right now, I think the highest climber at the moment is still, again, long ways to go. It's going to be that 59 of Jay Hilliard using that Mac Tools car in the second groove. I'll say he has gone +8 so far in this race, so doing exactly what he needs to do to try to be in that position. As you see now, also the 7 of where did he go there? 7 of Dale Willoughby, he's rolling to the back as well. So looks like these guys, some of these guys, kind of having some change of mind of how they want to run this race here early on.
Yep.
So right now, inside line still Kevin Freeze. Let's say he hasn't dropped to the back. It looks like he's going to stay kind of what he's used to being up front, controlling these races. Todd Merkel right behind him, holding strong there, and say a little bit of a as I say that, as soon as I say that, they're all going to jump to the back here as well. So
Yep.
you see
Two
the
more
5.
cars.
Yep, yeah. So the 5 Kevin Freeze, the 87 Raymond Rittenauer. Say they're going to drop to the back as well. This is where it gets a little dicey. They make sure they can slide up in time to make the turn and not wash up into anybody. So yes, you can see these 4 are going to all hook up together now. So that's going to, I believe the momentum's going to shift. Yeah, there goes Dean Wilkinson. He's able to get to the point now in that 55. Eric Laurie able to follow him along as well. So those two now are going to take the point there. And see, that's really slowed down that top line as well. Now it's got Charles Johnson leading the top in that number 9 machine. So yeah, so a lot of different strategies here early on. Kind of surprised a little bit to see the have them up front and then drop back like they were. It seemed like they're in a pretty solid position there, but I wouldn't be too worried about them. A lot of times these guys are really able to find their way to the front. As soon as I say that, is right now it looks like nobody wants to lead. There goes Dean Wilkinson. He's going to drop to the back. So right now, I say just nobody wants to seem to take the point of this race. As now it's going to cycle Eric Laurie to the point. And you saw there the 9 Charles Johnson able to tuck right in behind him there.
Everybody wants to sit back and just leave one lap and just pretty much save fuel.
And that's what I'm wondering, Maz. I wonder if it's just a fuel-saving strategy here, these guys. And it also, I mean, again, it is the first race of a new season. There's a few new faces here. A few of these guys, they don't care. They're just going to go up there and go for it. And say the first of those is going to be that 59 we just mentioned, Jay Hilliard. Right now up +14 from his spot. He's again in that Mac Tools Toyota here right now, right to the outside of Eric Laurie. He's got Jack Walls behind him.
Any bets on the 071? Yep, there he goes. Never mind.
He got his left leg. He's going to move out of the way. Yeah, but again, he's got to be careful because if he doesn't roll off enough, there's not going to be room for him to slide in here. And he's in that, you see right there, that's exactly what I was worried about there. He's had to stay on the apron. Now gets slid up here, but he's going to lose a lot of momentum doing that. So he's going to have to hope that he gets a little bit of help from these guys behind him, which it looks like they're going to be able to do. But when you do that, you have to be very confident you got some of the guys around you going to help you out. So it worked out there, but yeah, it got a little dicey there for a moment. And I'll say now it's going to cycle Jay Hilliard in the 59. He's going to take this lead. I don't think Jay's going to roll off and drop to the back here. I think he's going to stay up front and control this race now. So I think those other guys, I think they've got a game plan that they're working on here.
Jay, I've never seen him. Oh, never mind. Charles Johnson.
There goes
to the back. All right, Charles, bye. But Jay Hilliard, he's new to Area 51 League. I'm kind of curious to see what he does in the Superspeedway.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see how he does the same. A couple new faces all working their way to the front right now. Up there now also in the top line is that Castrol Ford of Dave Thatcher. He's also new to this series as well. As actually now you see up in the points Jack Walls. Jack not new to the series. He took pretty much a full season off last season, but he's going to take off where he left off in that 83 Pennzoil car. He's found his way back to the front. I must say, though, this is not what I would have expected, though, for this opener, for everybody just not wanting to be up at the front of this race. It seems like you said, everybody gets a lap left and they're going to just kind of cruise to the back again. And yeah, a little surprised about that for sure. But right now, though, up front, though, Dave Thatcher getting a pretty good push down the back. Quite clear Jack Walls, though. But also not a new face, but say a familiar face that hasn't run too much lately is going to be Les Levy in that 62. Say he's got... he's right there in that number 62 Chevrolet. And as soon as I say that, you see here comes the 59. He's going to jump back to the top side here, try to see if he can take this lead back over again from Jack Wells. So these guys, I don't think they're going. There's no riding going on for these guys. They're going to go after it in here and try to keep control of this race. As you see, he does clear that 83.
I'm looking at that pack. Actually, I'm looking at the pack that's right below Jim Brooks. I'm looking at 9 Charles Johnson, Gabe Butler, and Matt Quick, all single files in one line.
Yeah, so obviously this is the way to save fuel. You drop to the back, you can save a little bit of fuel. Maybe get that little bit extra fuel to maybe make maybe not make one less stop, but maybe be able to pit that one lap later, get a cleaner entry exit without having to pit with a big group of cars. But the thing I'm watching though is, I mean, those guys all led a little bit and then had to fall to the back. Whereas if you think about like where Jim Brooks is, he's been kind of just cruising in that 51 car in that little, kind of on the inside line in that little bubble, if you will, pretty much from the drop of the green. So I feel like he's been able to probably save one of the most amounts of fuel of these drivers here, just based on where he's been in this line this whole race thus far. So right now we're on lap number 12 of 75. Next time I start lap number 13. Again, fuel window's going to be in the low 20s here, especially around 21, 22 for the majority. We'll see maybe a couple can stretch it a couple more, but I'll say right now everybody's kind of keeping it pretty tidy here. Again, I'll say obviously Talladega got plenty of room for that third line, but I think everybody's kind of just minding their manners here, waiting for it to really be time to push that third lane.
Spread that all in the back. All 2x2. What is the fuel window? Sorry, about 24 laps. Am I correct?
I feel like it's going to be a little less than that. I think it's going to be more in the 21, 22 range. Maybe we'll see someone be able to pull up about a 23. But I don't think anybody's going to be able to make it to that last 25 mark unless they're able to really save aggressively here in this pack here. And that's one of those things. It's one of those deals where it's always an ever-changing number you're looking for. So depending on the pace of the cars, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, these guys are able to run X mile an hour, X lap time. So based on that, it's like, oh, okay, actually we can run a little slower and save a lot of fuel. But right now, I just feel like with the way these guys are running, I just don't see them able to get to that lap, that magical lap in the 25 mark. So I suspect, I think 22, 23s are going to be when we see the majority of the field pit here.
Last season, I was able to run 24 laps, and that was by miracle. And that's the most I've seen anybody do. 25 is just impossible.
Yeah, it'd be very tough to do for sure. So we'll jump around a few other faces that we haven't really been able to talk about yet as of now. You see the 45 there. It's Todd Siebels. He's running that top side here. He's actually +9 from his starting position as well, so he's made a good charge forward as well. Let's say a few of these faces again. Another new driver here, the 79 Donnie Lyons. He's in that inside groove there, that red, white, and blue there, 79 Machine Chevrolet. So he's right now, I think, again, in a nice little pocket here. So he's got car seats outside, but again, everybody's being pretty calm, cool, and collected right now. So say that's one of those things when you're some of these newer drivers, you kind of want to just get familiar with the people, with the racing, and kind of see what you can do. But I'm looking up front there, you see Dave Thatcher. He went to the top side, and he's got no help here, so he's going to drop straight to the back here. We'll see, might be able to sneak in front of the 64 there of Peter Travica. I think he's going to be able to fit in there. Yeah, he'll be good to go there. So I'm saying Peter, also another new face here to the league. So, and I say it's nice to see some new names, new faces here. And like I said, I think we're missing a couple of drivers from the usual, from some of the usual guys, and of course others that signed up as well. Just again with the All-Star race tonight, kind of shaking up the schedule a little bit here tonight. So it'll be fun to see next week what we look like when we're kind of more in full force. So one guy that dropped back earlier here, Matt, and then moved his way back up. Here's that 7 of Dale Willoughby. So he's now back up into that about the 3rd, 4th position, second car on the top line. I say he is pretty much locked right onto the back of that 62 of Les Levy here. So curious to see as he was going after it initially, but then he's kind of been a little bit backing off a little bit. As you see, he's got all he can see in front of him is Ricky Bobby there, and I don't know if it's one of those things that might be a good thing or not. I say if you got someone kind of staring you down, giving you the finger as well. So right now, I say that's what Dale's going to be dealing with right now as he actually follows the 62 Les Levy. Les Levy going to take the point now. As you see, another car drop to the inside. I think that was Donnie Lyons. Yeah, he's dropped to the apron here. He's got to make sure he can merge up again. That's the concern here. You got to make sure you have enough room to kind of squeeze back up here in 3. He's going to be able to do it, but I feel like he is way off pace now in this 79 car. I don't think he's going to be hanging on to this draft here.
Yeah, I totally agree there, Gael. He's dropped off his pace way too slow. I don't think he's probably going to catch up to Matt Quick there.
Yeah, so that could shake things up. He's going to have to hope for a yellow, I think, at this point, or maybe wait for the pit stop cycle. But yeah, you can see he's dropped way off the pack here. So, however, up front, Todd Siebels, he's going to try to take over the point for this one. I'll say right now, it's working the outside of that 62 of Les Levy. So, again, a lot of kind of just you get that good push, get the good push and get around the guy. You can clear him and drop to the inside. We saw last time. The 62 and the 7 are able to actually push well enough to then clear both of them. So that's going to be one of those things. That's going to be, I think, the trick too, is to figure out where do you want to be in the closing laps of this race to make the right move at the end for the win. Do you got to hold the bottom? Do you need to be maybe running the middle of the top groove to kind of keep that momentum up? So it's going to be a lot to keep an eye out for on the strategy side of things right now. As we're going to cross here, it's going to start lap 19, which again is going to be that pit window. I think here Matt's going to be probably in the next, I'd say 3-4 laps at the absolute most.
I'm kind of curious how much fuel Jim Brooks saved there since the drop of the green flag. I know he was pretty much in super save mode since the drop of the green.
Yeah, exactly right, and that's kind of what I'm wondering about some of these guys, where they started in the race and kind of where they've been cruising. I say Jim is one of those. He's been pretty much on the bottom this whole time. I'm not sure. I believe also the 53, Quabi Brooks, might be in a similar boat here. So I think he started in 9th, currently running in 9th. And as I said, here comes a few drivers going to hit the pits right now. He's got the 7, the 071 is also in. So it's going to be Dale Willoughby, Eric Laurie, Kevin Fries, and Gabe Butler. So this is going to be our first set of drivers here hitting the pits. You can see there on the bottom as well, so one of the new features, you got the pit stop ticker there. So you're going to see the total time on pit road as well as the pit stop time. So that's going to give you kind of a good impression of how long these guys are in and out of the pits here.
I expect to see Matt Quick and all them. They started trying moving up toward the field and just dropped right down to the low side, and I think they're going to come in this time.
Yeah, so we'll take a look here. We'll jump back to the frames. You saw some of those drivers heading out of the pits there. So that's going to be the next question is, does anybody react to this, or are they going to kind of run their own fuel strategy here? So we'll keep an eye on, see if anybody ducks off. And so far, no reactions actually. So it's going to be the same group here. The only thing that I did notice was Dale Willoughby got a really good pit stop, and you can see he's actually separated himself from these guys behind. So they're going to have to get kind of caught back up. The one that really got hurt out of that's going to be Eric Laurie. He is completely off the draft, unfortunately, of those 3 in front of him. So the 4 that came in together, they're going to lose one of those guys, being the 071 Eric Laurie. So I'll say Eric's going to have to hope that he can kind of tag on to somebody here once they pit in the next lap or 2. And Donnie Lyons, he's also back out on track as well. Unfortunately, he did go a lap down after his pit stop. We've talked about him losing the draft there. And you can see, you see a couple guys really trying to squeeze down there. I think that was Dave Thatcher trying to get to the inside. I think he wants to try to make a pit stop here. However, you can see he's going to stay pinned to the top there. And you see one coming in by himself. I believe that is going to be Peter Travica. So he's going to have a nice clean entry. Nobody around him. But his critical thing for him now is going to be getting a clean entry to his stall and a clean exit, because he's going to have no drafting help here once he gets up to speed. So he's going to have to hope he can tag on to somebody here after his pit stop as well.
See a bunch of guys come down pit road this time.
Yeah,
Well, maybe I could be wrong. Yes.
I've been wrong plenty, Matt. So I don't feel bad about it. But I think we're gonna see for sure. I think we're gonna see a handful of the top five at least pit this time around. The ones I want to watch are gonna be like Bobby Brooks, Jim Brooks, and then the 89 and Matt Quick. I think some of these guys might stretch that little extra. Yeah, here. Oh, actually, as they say, that
Oh,
caution in the back. Oh, as the pit stops are about to happen. So these guys have to be smart here because caution is out, but they're all still hitting pit road here. So there's going to be a lot of pit road penalties. This is going to really change things up here. So we're going to have to take a look and see what happened because, yeah, right now everything's kind of all disordered here. So you see, let's go back and see what happened. I know it was around Nick Manfredi, so we'll go back here and take a look, see if we can find out what exactly happened there.
looks like Quabi got in the back of Dave Thatcher there. Thatcher slowed down tremendously. That caused a big old stack up, and everybody just got into each other.
So we're going to jump back a little further here. So we're going to keep an eye around the 53 car. You see him there in that white and purple car. So that's Quabi Brooks. You see Matt Quick. He's working to the outside of him right now. This is where everybody starts kind of getting all set up here for the pit stop cycle. And you're right. Yeah, you can see a big slowdown by that car in front of Quabi, and then from there just a bit of a stack up. Actually, it's a 29 initially. He gets a little bit loose there. And unfortunately, just nothing he could do. And that's where you see, oh, Charles Johnson, he takes the worst hit of all of those guys. Jim Brooks also some pretty significant right front damage as well. So I'm wondering, just based on the way that pace dropped off of that Castrol car, I have a feeling, Matt, he may have actually been sputtering there out of four because he was pretty aggressive trying to get into the pits there. I'm wondering if maybe he had run out of fuel and just, unfortunately, there wasn't enough to get out of turn number 4 and hit the pit road entry.
Yeah, I'm quite curious myself. We got a onboard sound with that?
That's a good question. I'll see if I can hunt that down here real quick. So you've got some green flag pit stops going on up front. I saw a few cars limping to the pits as well, just out of fuel completely. So we'll take a quick look here, and then we'll go ahead and see. So let's go ahead and pause this here. All right, so we're gonna hop on board with that 420 of Mr. Thatcher here. Let's listen on board. Yeah, it definitely started sputtering. He tried to get to the bottom as quick as he could there, but by then, I'll say the spin and everything happened behind him, so there's not much he can do. But yeah, I think he just started sputtering, tried to react as quick as he could, but yeah, unfortunately, it's a little bit too late there. So, so I'll do that. We'll jump back here live because we're gonna have to try to figure out where everybody is. It's gonna be a really mixed order here of who is where on track with everything that happened under that yellow here. So. Give us a moment, get everything sorted out, and then we'll be back in just a moment. Alright, so lights are off on the pace car, so say first caution here right at the quarter distance, or third distance mark I should say, lap 25. Say the one I'm a little worried about here is going to be that 51 of Jim Brooks. Opted not to get the fast repair done to that car, but he's got some pretty significant, you see there, the right front damage, a little bit on the rear as well. I'm a little surprised he didn't opt to take that fast repair, so the hope is that maybe he was able to get enough damage repaired manually under that pit stop where that car will still be able to draft well. It's definitely not going to want to lead very well here. But the other thing is we look here, and there's a lot of cars here that topped off under this caution flag. Say not really very many stayed out under this caution. So that's going to be the next thing. You see how many cars here all lined up to this inside row here. And again, that's just all of these drivers here. Pretty much I think all but the top three, I believe, topping off on the one to go. But then there's also a lot of pit road penalties here on the entry. Because a lot of drivers entered a closed pit there, and so that's going to catch a lot of these guys off, unfortunately. So it's going to be very interesting to see who is kind of trapped where. We might have to see some green flag pit stops to serve penalties. It's going to get really messy here, unfortunately. But a lot of those guys, there's nothing they could do. They had to pit because they weren't going to make it around if they tried to limp that thing around under caution. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what this next restart, what it brings for us. What's also going to do is it's going to have to bring a little extra aggression, I think, on this restart as well, because you got a lot of guys here all single file in the back of the pack. They do not want to lose this draft. So, and of course Jim Brooks kind of off on his own here on the top side, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this restart unfolds. So it's going to be Raymond Rittenauer on the inside in that number 87 car. Jim Brooks to his outside, Nick Manfredi there in third. I say it's up to Raymond here when he wants to go, but I think with the way this field is here, you can see it looks like he's just going to wait for that green flag to fly, and now he is down and away. We're going to get things back going here to start things off on lap number 27. Looks like everybody's kind of got through so far so good cleanly on this initial restart. I'll say for Jim Brooks, he's got to find somewhere to kind of peek in if he can, because that's going to be the issue for him. He's going to have possibly some help, but you see Quabi Brooks, he's going to jump to the top here in the 53 car. This could be actually a potential benefit, but actually, as I say that, Quabi doesn't have enough momentum to clear that 51. So if you're Jim here, I think you drop straight to the inside, and here comes a lot. Yeah, here comes some drivers, I think, having to serve those pit penalties we just mentioned. So it looks like it's going to kick off with Dean Wilkinson, Jay Hilliard, Todd Siebels, those three all hitting pit road, Peter Travica as well. So say nothing they did wrong there, but unfortunately just with the way iRacing is, say entering that closed pit, say they have to serve those penalties, so it's really going to put some guys in a tough spot here. And somehow Jim Brooks is still holding on to that second spot. He's got a lot of help from Charles Johnson. But man, I wouldn't want to be leading this pack right now with that damage. As I say that, here goes Raymond Rittenauer, kind of doing what we talked about earlier. He's going to drop straight. Oh, contact. Oh, big contact. We got a lot of cars around here. So far, actually, somehow we stay green because no car spun completely around. And at the moment, it looks like it's going to stay green. I don't know how after all that, Matt. We'll go back and take a look at that because, yeah, I think Jim Brooks may have got too big of a push there. And so you see a lot of guys, that's like kind of everything going all crazy now. So we'll go back a little further there. Unfortunately, went too far forward. So you see Jim Brooks, he's kind of scooting to the inside. Charles tries to follow him. Yeah, as soon as Charles tried to follow him, just caught his right rear a little bit. And then say Jim tries to hang on to it. And you can see just from there, Les Levy, he catches Dave Thatcher there. And then just everybody's kind of just along for the ride here. I say, fortunately, unfortunately, they did a really good job of avoiding, nobody spun completely around. So that's what kept that race under green. So that's going to really shake up the running order here. We'll jump back alive. You see Jim Brooks, a lot of damage to that car. So right now, actually, we've got a big breakaway here. You got Nick Manfredi, Charles Johnson there, and then you've got the 83 of Jack Walsh, who is, I believe, one lap down at the moment. And so they've got a huge gap right now over Matt Quick, who's leading that second pack here. So right now, say just everything completely shooken up here. So now these guys are going to have to kind of lock onto one another and do what they do best. And I think you see right here, here comes Gabe Butler and Dale Willoughby. I think they're going to push hard here to get to the front. To lead this pack, you see also Raymond Rittenauer and then Kevin Freeze joining in as well. Yeah, this race has kind of gone off the rails here after that first caution flag. Things gone kind of a little bit hectic right now.
Yeah, I noticed Dave Thatcher came in pit road and got his car repaired and came back down. Came back on track. Now is being hunted by Nick Monefeld right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is that you look on the ticker right now. So you've got right now 13 cars on the lead lap, a couple right on the edge of it. The one right now who's in a really bad spot now is just after earlier Jim Brooks. So you can see he's missing the whole rear deck lid of that car. So he's going to, right now looks like just limping along. Now he's going to go ahead. He's going to duck in and pit. You're right, I would say right now Dave Thatcher, he's on the tail end of the lead lap. But I say, like I said, Nick Manfredi not that far behind him in that number 29 car. So I would put him down a lap. And I'm saying with Jim making that pit stop, that's going to probably be the same situation for that 51 car as well. So now it's going to be all about lap times right now. So we're going to be watching to see these guys a little further back here, 2 by 2. Looking at the last lap times, I think we'll have to wait for everybody to get kind of reestablished here. But right now, everybody's running in about the mid 50s right now. 50-51 for the lead pack. Raymond Rittenauer, Gabe Butler about 50-48. So not that big of a difference here. But I think once these guys get really locked onto one another, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more speed out of these guys.
Yeah, 50-50 the last time by for Jack Walsh's crew, and Gabe Butler with a 50.19. So yeah, it would be a matter of time until they catch him.
Yeah, it's 3/10 right there. I think at some point we're going to see that pace go even quicker. I think we'll see drivers in the 49s as well, because I think we've seen 49s earlier in this race as well, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that. But right now, I'll say they're not that far back. I mean, you see where they're in the backstretch. Here's the next group in front. These are the top two, I should say, with Jack Wallace in the mix here too. And so that's going to be able to help things out a little bit with just the 3 of them. They are going to pick up a little bit of speed here, though, soon. So you see now Jim Brooks also tail into the lead lap here in the 51 car with Dave Thatcher. So that's going to be able to see if these two, if they can maybe lock on, stay on the tail end of this lead lap. This could be something that'll help them out to maybe try to not have to worry about being trapped a lap down should we get a caution flag, which right now it's hard to say just with all the craziness that just happened there with it somehow staying green. So right now it's still leading the way is that 29 of Nick Manfredi. He's got Charles Johnson behind him. And then it's in front of him 2 cars on the tail end of the lead lap, and then the 83 Jack Wall's first car, 1 down. And then so you can see in the background here comes Gabe Butler with the rest of this pack here trying to chase them back down. But yeah, right now, so again, Matt, the last time by about 0.3 of a second quicker for Gabe Butler. Then Nick Manfredi, Charles Johnson. I think we can actually show, might be able to show some time delta here, so try and play with some of the new features we've got on here. So right now we'll start with Gabe leading the, we'll go back to Charles Johnson, I should say, to Gabe Butler. And you can see the gap difference right now, how it's been shrinking here. And pretty much just to say, just under a 10th per lap basically between these guys. And you can see, I mean, they're pretty much right within touching distance now. They're going to start picking up a draft of these guys in front. As you can see, Charles Johnson actually, he's taken over a point of this race. Jack Wallace, he's been able to put himself as the last car, 1 lap down there, or on the tail end of the lead lap, I should say. And so now that's going to be the next battle here, because that's going to be important for Jim Brooks for the 420 car of Dave Thatcher right now. They're going to be kind of battling to be that first car 1 down here as they run at the moment.
Here's what they decide to do when they get to him: go to the high side or stay right in line.
That's a good question. Well, we've seen they haven't really wanted to be leading this race early, so we'll watch Raymond Rittenauer. He's gonna be the first to get to these guys, and I kind of am thinking that they might just roll off the throttle and go back to fuel save mode. Say they kind of job number 1 here done. They've gotten to the pack, so and yeah, it does look like they're not going to use that momentum. They're just going to kind of get right back in line, just go back to kind of cruise control. I say we're on lap number 35 now of 75, so. The magic number for a lot of these guys would be if they could get to lap 50 That would be just on the outside of their field until then. If anybody could go beyond 50, maybe get to like 51, 52, that might be able to make it. That could be their final stop of the race if they can stretch that field number that far or not. So that can come into play as well on the fuel strategy. I think that's why we see some of these guys pitting, or sorry, I should say saving as much as they are right now.
Kind of curious if they can make it on one more stop. Is that even possible?
I don't think anybody can make it to the end on one more stop. A couple that can make it to the end here, I think, but are in a really bad position are going to be the 51 of Jim Brooks. He pitted on lap number 29. I'm sorry. So I think he can make it on one more stop. He's going to have to go obviously a little bit further on fuel, and of course at this point also is a lap down in the race, but will be able to at least kind of cycle back possibly onto the lead lap when these guys maybe make their second stop. If it stays green, he might be able to find his way back up into the front. As I'm looking at the lap numbers, I think right now Jim is the latest pitter with lap number 29. Everybody else up front is in the 23, 24 range. So based on that number, I don't see it happening, Matt. I don't think anybody's going to be able to make it to the end on one stop. I think everybody's going to have to do it one stop and then probably a splash of fuel at the end. Here's a couple drivers kind of trying to put their destiny in their own hands here. It's going to be the 55 there of Dean Wilkinson, and then the number 62 here of Les Levy. I'll say these guys are also one lap down right now, but you can see what they've done here. They've actually pushed themselves in front of that number 9 of Charles Johnson. And if they can try to find a way to clear that 83 of Jack Walls as well, that would put them as well right on the tail end of that lead lap. Again, we mentioned Jim Brooks right now, first car one lap down. Dave Thatcher right behind him, also one down. So if these guys, if they can clear that, put them right on that tail end of the lead lap position. So things could get pretty intriguing there on their side. And you see also another car coming up here is that 53 Quabi Brooks. He's got help, it looks like. I'm trying to catch the car number. I think that's the 64 if I'm not mistaken. Trying to go through my ticker here and find him. Yeah, Peter Travica, there he is. He's 2 down at the moment. So if he can get around these guys as well, Matt, he could actually go from being 2 down to 1 down. And I mean, and that'll put him in a whole different ball game in this race. If we get a caution of him just being the 1 down, that could go a very long ways for Peter as well in that 64 machine. You saw there, he really wanted to try to clear himself and get to the inside line. Couldn't do it though. I said that they got the 4 cars up top here pretty well established. To say, looking like they've got a pretty good draft going right here. But say, looks like Charles Johnson, Jack Wells also working extremely well together here. Again, do need to mention Charles is the race leader here in that 9 car. The next car for position somehow is that number 29 of Nick Manfredi. Actually, now I should say actually it's Quabi Brooks in the 53. He's been able to push his way forward. That just shows how many cars right now that are either a lap down, tail on the lead lap, or maybe 2 down, that are trying extremely hard right here to get at least one of those laps back to get back into the thick of things here if things fall their way. However, Charles Johnson never one content to ride. He's going to take the point here. He's able to move to the front, get in front of the 55 there of Dean Wilkinson. He's going to clear the 83 of Jack Wallace. And so now Charles is on the lead, or Charles is our leader, but now he's got everybody behind him trapped at least a lap down of the big chunk of these guys behind him. So really no cars on the tail in the lead lap at the moment here. But as I say that, here comes Dean Wilkinson. He's going to push again with Les Levy's help. See if they can maybe clear that 9 car and put themselves back on that tail end. And I said that 3rd car in that top line, Quabi Brooks, he's going to try to do the same. If he can tag onto these guys, he could actually take the point over as our race leader here. Just barely Dean Wilkinson able to clear that number 9 car. He's going to jump in front of him. So that's going to move Dean now into that tail end of lead lap position like we talked about. You see there in the ticker, as soon as I say that, you see Jack Walls immediately. He pops up. Jack doesn't want to be in that position as well. So I'll say there's a lot of aggression right now, but say it's not for the lead of this race here. This is to try to be that, this is kind of that race within a race to be that first car, either the first car one down or be the tail end of the lead laps. You can see on the ticker, Dean Wilkins and Jack Walls. So you see it's not -1 lap, it's minus 50 seconds. And that's, I mean, that's again, that could be a make or break situation for them in this race here. So the next question, of course, is going to be pit stop strategy when that first set of pit stops, or sorry, I should say second set of pit stops. You see Jack Walls, he's able to clear as well now to see when that pit stop cycle is going to happen. But with all of these guys jumping around, our race leader at the moment is that 53 now, Bobby Brooks. Say he's got Les Levy in front of him, so if he can maybe stay tucked up to the back of the 62 car, he might be able to get a lap led this time around here as they come through the tri-oval here, and I think he's going to have enough momentum and distance over that 9 car. So I'll say this time by that 53, Bobby Brooks, he's going to be our race leader here at Talladega.
I see they're starting to close in on Todd Markle there. I feel kind of bad for the guys, and they're run by himself. Got caught up in the incident there.
Yeah, you're right. Todd kind of off on his own right now. Right now, just 1 lap down. So he obviously doesn't want to go the second lap down. And what's happened here is Quabi was able to push the 62, Les Levy to the tail end of the lead lap, and then say from there he has not had the help he needed, so he's fallen straight to the back now. So that's going to put Charles Johnson again back to a point in that number 9 machine. And then again, second place though is about 3 cars behind him. It's going to be that 62, or sorry, the 29 of Nick Manfredi. He's in the second position. You see Quabi there in third. He's going to find an opening right in front of Raymond Rittenauer. He's going to sneak in there. So let's say Quabi going to drop back into that third spot, but pretty much halfway in the pack here. Again, kind of crazy with as many cars that are trapped a lap or more down or on the tail in this lead lap. It's really shaking things up as to kind of who is where in track position here. You see they're coming around Todd Merkel now. That is going to put him down that second lap, unfortunately. And we also saw one just now coming out of the pits, I believe. So I'm trying to find who that was. I want to see, yeah, it was Donnie Lyons. He just came out of the pits. That's going to put Donnie 1 lap down as well. He had pitted a lot earlier than the rest of the guys. Stayed out to try to keep some of that track position, but just didn't get the caution he needed to try to keep in contention so far in this one. So Donnie, he's going to need to make one more stop as well to make it to the end here. Right now we're starting lap number 44, so we talked about the pit stop lap being around 23, 24. That's going to be about 20 laps ago now, so I think, again, that pit window probably going to be opening here again in the next, I would say, 2, 3, possibly 4 laps for some of these guys. I don't think anybody's going to be able to stretch it to that lap 50, 51 mark, though.
They're going to try. They're all running single file, not really pushing really hard, trying to save that fuel.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of fuel savings going on, but I think some of that too is just to maybe try to make that last pit stop that little bit shorter, to let you go that little bit further. And actually, as I say that, here they come. It's going to start off with, I believe, Raymond Rittenauer is going to be leading this group off in the 87 car, and he's going to have with him Kevin Freeze, Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie, Dale Willoughby. So we got 5 drivers here pitting, coming to lap number 45. So this is going to be the first of our lead lap cars to kind of make the strategy here.
So now I'm curious, now since those guys pitted, will the other group do the same thing?
Yeah, so watching pits, it looks like left side tires for the 5, right sides for the 7. Now the critical part is, can these guys all get out together? And looks like, oh no, unfortunately the 7 of Dale will be a lot longer stop for him. That's going to really hurt him. I think it was a 4 tire stop for him versus the 2 for the rest of those guys. Going back to the lead pack, and they are not reacting to it, Matt. They're going to stay out here and try to run their fuel, I think, again to the distance here. And yeah, just unfortunately, though, say my concern now is going to be kind of like we had last time with that 071 Eric Laurie. This time it's going to be Dale Willoughby. He's kind of stuck on his own here as he comes out of the pits, but look at that gap between him and then the one of Gabe Butler's the last car in that lead pack there. So he's going to be off on his own here. Just going to have to hope, again, that maybe he can get locked on with somebody after they start their pit stop cycle.
I'm very surprised they didn't come down that time. Just keep up with those guys. But then again, they may come down this time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who can pit when. I mean, right now, we've seen a lot of movement going. I see a few cars moving around, and I think that's what we're seeing here. Is going to be some pit stops going on, and a big group of cars here coming in. You see Charles Johnson, Quabi Brooks are going to be two of the leaders in, I think, and also Nick Manfredi will be the third. So 3 of our race leaders with a lot of cars, again, right on that tail end of the lap down mark. So that's going to cycle Matt Quick now to the point in the 89 car. He's got Jim Brooks in front of him. And he's also got the 2 of Todd Merkel, and behind him he's got that 64 we had mentioned a little earlier of Peter Travica. So say not surprised to see Matt Quick kind of be Mr. Fuel Save. He can always run these cars really far on fuel. But right now I'm watching him. He's kind of running to the top here. I doubt he can run an extra lap here. We're on 47 here, going to come around to 48. But the concern is, of course, with these guys running side by side like they are, the pace just probably isn't there. So you just worry about maybe losing a little bit too much pace here under this under the screen flag cycle, the way he's having to work the top line right now.
Yeah, cars that just come in now, they're very spread out. Now, compared to the guys who just come back on pit road, like Gabe Butler, stuff, people.
Yeah, say we're watching right now. You see Raymond Rittenauer. This is where it gets a little dicey. You see drivers having to move around to try to avoid getting into one another, and so that's where these guys, they do their damage. You saw right there, Raymond Rittenauer, Kevin Freese, Eric Corey, Gabe Butler. They were able to lock onto each other really quickly off their pit exit, and that's what's been able to separate themselves now. So I don't think it'll be enough to get away from the draft, but they'll at least have a little bit of breathing room for a lap or so. But the one that's somehow, again, stretching that fuel mark, though, is that number 89 Matt Quick. And actually, as I say that, I think he may have run it just a little too far, as I think that car is starting to sputter a little bit as he heads into the pits here.
Last time by, Raymond Rittenauer and Kevin Freese, they ran a 49.8. That is flying around here.
That is very quick. Yeah, you're definitely not wrong there. And that's where they do their damage, is those in and out laps. So right now, say Raymond Rittenauer, once he gets through the start-finish line, he'll probably take the point back over in this race. And so he's going to have Kevin Freese, Eric Laurie, Gabe Butler all with him. But you look a little bit further behind here. Here comes Charles Johnson. He's gotten right back onto this group as well. And then just that little further back here, say I think Quabi Brooks might be able to, if he can just grab the toe of these 3 cars in front of him, he's going to have to really hustle to try to get to there. But if he can make it happen, he could join this mix as well. I don't think Nick Manfredi is going to be able to do so, though. He's in a pretty tough position where he's at. Then we just mentioned Matt Quick, who made his pit stop. He is now getting up to speed. But again, I think he's going to fall back out of this pack. Might be able to tag. Oh, gets loose out of 2, trying to get as much as he can on the pit exit. He could actually lock on here with Nick Manfredi. Maybe those two can make some speed happen with the 2 of them.
Yeah, I wonder a question if Quabi can latch onto that pack there.
I don't think he can, Matt. I'm looking at the lap times. Last time by, he ran a 49.84. In front of him, Charles Johnson ran a 49.55. I think he's just outside this window right now. I'm looking at the ticker here. He's about a second back, so he might still be just in the range. He's going to be right on, kind of right on the absolute edge. But actually what I'm watching now is some of these guys in the back that are starting to drop to the back there, like Gabe Butler. That's going to be actually the exact thing that 53 Quabi Brooks needed there. I think that's going to be exactly what he needed. That's going to bring him right back into this mix here. So it was definitely on a knife's edge there, but he's going to grab that lead draft back again. So Charles Johnson, he's taken back over at the point. And again, here's this big fight, though. Who's going to be that tail end of the lead lap cars? First car one down. As you can see right in front of him, he's got Les Levy, Dean Wilkinson, that 420 David Thatcher, Jack Walls, all these drivers right on the edge of the lead lap here. So yeah, these guys doing everything they can to stay on the lead lap in case a yellow comes out. You see Jim Brooks just headed out of the pits now in the 51 car as well. So unfortunately for Jim, I'm not sure he's going to have any help. He does get put back a lap down here. However, he is pitting here at 25 to go. I was hoping if he'd go a little further, he could make it to the end. But now with him pitting at this point at 25 to go, that's going to be really stretching it for him to make it to the end without a caution.
I'm curious to see if real quick and get them grouped together of like Jim Brooks, Peter Trafica and see if he can push make Nick up there so he can get back up to the lead pack there.
Yeah, that's going to be his best hope here. So you can see he's gotten to the back of the 29 of Nick Manfredi. They're working on catching the 51 of Jim Brooks as well. So if they can, like you said, if they can work together, if they can get kind of that tandem draft working, that could be something that could make some speed happen here. Say right now lap times aren't where they need to be. They're actually not too bad. They're just about 2/10 off of that group. You see right there, they're going to pick up that 51 of Jim Brooks as well. That's going to help that speed out a little bit here. I don't think they're going to be able to grab Peter Trafica. I think he's just too far off the back of them. So I'll try to keep an eye on the lap times for those guys. But right now, let's say up front, though, still Charles Johnson leading the way. Say he's kind of in his own little spot here behind these tail end of the lead lap cars. You can see Raymond Rittenauer not wanting to get anywhere too close here. He knows there's one more pit stop before this thing comes to a conclusion. And that's going to be the strategy now. Is do you run this like a road course? Do you pit once you're in your fuel window, or do you run this thing all the way out and then take that little splash at the end? So there's going to be a couple trains of thought of what's the right way to make this happen here tonight.
I'm curious what they do if they come in just get tires, just a splash of fuel. If I was like Kevin Freeze, Raymond Rittenauer, Eric Laurie, Gabe Butler, I'd come in right now and just splash of fuel. And just trying to separate yourself from the pack.
I mean, yeah, we've seen how fast they are by themselves when they're kind of locked on with one another. And I suspect that's what we will see from them, because they know that they can make a green flag pit stop, not get trapped a lap down. But the one thing I will kind of counter with is I don't think now's the time yet. I think it'll be closer to 20 to go, because if they pit now, I do not think, if you account for the potential of a green-white checkered, I don't think they'd have enough to make it to the end. So I think this is where they're going to run just a little bit extra, try to get that little extra lap or two, just in case in case there is a green-white checker, they don't have to splash it during the caution, and they'll have that track position on that final potential restart of the race.
Yeah, I totally agree. But as much as these cars are spread out, I don't think we'll have a green-white checkered. But you never know.
And that's exactly it. Is these races, you never know how it's gonna pan out. Like this one had a really green flag look to it, and then we saw that caution during the pit stop cycle, and then we saw what could have and should have been a caution, but everybody kept their car pointing straight. So caution did not get thrown there. So it's just one of those things, you never know how these things are gonna pan out. And the other thing I'm watching here is, I think Charles Johnson, he's kind of playing both games right now, keeping the lead, keeping that track position. But at the same time, he's keeping just enough of a gap to these guys in front of him as well, who are trying to stay on that tail end of the lead lap, where he's able to also save some fuel in that number 9 car.
Pretty smart move by Charles there.
Yeah, so he's always got some pretty good strategies under his in his notebook, if you will. So you see a few drivers trying to get back to this lead pack here, and again trying to get maybe put from 2 down to just 1 down. You see right there, I believe that is the 79 Donnie Lyons. Right now, he is 1 lap down. But as you see right now, he's working his way to get back around that number 9 Charles Johnson. I believe that'll put him also on the tail end of the lead lap. So when you look in front of that number 9 car, you got 5 drivers here, all on the tail end of the lead lap, doing everything they can. Just right now, just hoping for a yellow to get themselves back into the mix.
Tale of 2 races.
Yeah, you're exactly right there, Matt. And do need to mention, we talked about lap times. I'm watching Nick Manfredi, Matt Quick, Jim Brooks. Right now they are running 50.69s. Leaders are in the 50.9s, 50.7s. They still got a long ways to go, about 7-8 seconds off the leaders, but they are slowly but surely closing that gap. So they are definitely working the draft to kind of perfection right now to try to close that gap, which is those 3 cars.
I think they're running out of time. They're going to have to need a caution to catch back up.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong there. The one thing that Matt Quick has a little bit in his pocket is he did pit later than a lot of these guys around him. He pitted about 2 laps later than the rest of the field, even 4 laps later than some of the guys like Raymond Rittenauer, Kevin Freeze, or Gabe Butler. So he's going to need a little bit less fuel. So I mean, that little bit less, I mean, that could be maybe a second, 2 seconds. I mean, if he can close that gap a little bit more, maybe get to within that 5-second bracket or so, and maybe he saves a second or 2 on the pit stop, maybe even can get a really good entry where he can cut a little bit of time there. I mean, that could potentially get him right on the cusp of picking up this lead pack draft again. And as I said, here comes some of the drivers here pitting. You see Quabi Brooks thought about pitting. He's going to stay out, though. So it's going to be, again, Raymond Rittenauer, Kevin Freeze, Eric Laurie, and Gabe Butler. They're pitting here with 19 to go. That should easily, actually 18 to go as they cross the line. So that should easily get them to the window to make it to the end here, including Green White Checkers. So now the big thing for them, though, is they got to make sure they hit their pit marks. Say make sure they have the tires set correctly. Know if they need to take 2 fuel only. I suspect we're going to see fuel only here. And of course, the next part is get out all together. So you see Raymond, he is down and away. And looks like they're going to have a very nice pit stop here where they're going to be able to get reassembled pretty quickly there.
You know, I expect Nick to come down the spine. Oh, here comes Quabi, maybe? Yep, here they come, all down pit road.
Yep, we got a big group here yet. Charles Johnson's in, Dean Wilkinson, Les Levy, Quabi Brooks, Jack Walls. Looks like Quabi got a little loose there, is able to get slowed down, actually kind of gained some time there on the pit entry. You saw him get around the 9, but now the 53, he's got to make sure he can find a way to get to the inside line here, because he's got to make sure he doesn't, you see he's actually having to slow up not to get into that 62, and that's the concern of some of these. You have to lose a little bit of time to make those pit marks. And actually, also you notice there in the back, the 89 of Matt Quick, he just pitted as well. And it looks like Quabi's going to get out with these guys. So now the question is going to be that fight for getting back up to speed. They're going to be nicely assembled here. But here comes Raymond Rittenauer and company in front of them. So we'll keep an eye and see how they cycle through here as everybody gets back up to speed.
Yeah, Willoughby down pit road.
So you see here comes Raymond Rittenauer kind of blown by these guys. Again, I think it's going to be one of those things. They're going to have a little bit of breathing room as there's 17 to go here. But I think it's not going to be enough to completely put themselves out of harm's way. So I think they're going to still have to fight these guys as they're all going to build that speed back up and grab that draft here and try to basically draft right back up to them. So I think leading this group now behind is going to be the 83 of Jack Walls. And this is where they got to be smart here. They got to start working together to stay locked onto one another to close this gap back up. Because if they start fighting like they kind of are right now, that's going to be able to let Raymond, Kevin, Gabe, and Eric kind of sneak away here. And now it looks like they've all kind of got resorted here. So now it's going to be all about lap times. Looking on my timing screen, you can see everybody cycle through right now. So it's a little bit of, again, a bit of a mixed bag right now. Drivers that have yet to make their final stops of the race. The 420 of Dave Thatcher, he's going to still have to make a pit stop. Donnie Lyons right with him as well. They both still have to pit. Question mark for Jim Brooks. I feel like he's going to most likely need to make a pit stop if he doesn't have any help. But as I said, here comes Dale Willoughby. He can tag on Dale. And I think for Jim, I think if he lets Dale lead and he can draft off of him, maybe be enough to save him that extra stop. Which right now, I mean, that could be a top 10 position. So, I mean, that is something that's worth fighting for sure. So we're watching lap times again. So lead pack running 49.82s. That second group led by Charles Johnson and company ran a 49.59 for Quabi Brooks, 67 for Charles Johnson. So like we mentioned, I think they are going to find their way back up into this group. As you can see, they're trying to work around the 29 there of Nick Manfredi. So that's where you have to be a little careful because you see Nick had to try to get back out on track. Kind of got a little high there. That's going to cause Charles a little bit of time having to react to Nick there in the 29 car. So, but I think they're all within. I think they're all within striking distance where they can make this gap. They can close this gap up front here. Alright, so right now, kind of, again, a slight 4-car breakaway with Raymond Rittenauer, Kevin Freeze, Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie. Again, all 4 of those guys, pretty much all of the front pack here. I would say the top 7 drivers all can make it to the end on fuel. The one driver who definitely kind of came up the worst on this is going to be that 89 Matt Quick. He pitted a little earlier than he had to, but was not able to make that gap he needed to. And you can see, unfortunately, he's just kind of fallen straight back. I think right now just kind of dragging back to maybe pick up some drafting help at this point. However, up in front though, like I said, with Raymond Rittenauer, Charles Johnson and company, I think they're all good to go here. But the one that you see that just kind of fell off the back of this group here, that 53 Quabi Brooks, unfortunately, I think he is now out of that lead pack draft most definitely. So right now, basically for Quabi, he's going to have to hope for a caution to be able to get back into the mix of this thing. With which right now, as you see, the blue design kind of have to pick between a couple of groups of cars on the inside and the outside. So that's always where things get a little bit dicey here at Talladega. Alright, so you see everybody's kind of all bundled back together. So now the question again, I was going to say, do they take the momentum? They do. So here's going to be Les Levy, Dean Wilkinson. They're going to jump to the top. Charles Johnson, again, he is that 5th position car. So this is a battle for him for the lead, potentially for the win. But he's going to have to work with these guys around him who are on either a lap down, tail in the lead lap. Again, these guys, they still want to race for this as well. They're not here just to ride around and take where they're at. Again, the yellow could change everything here, so that's going to force Kevin Freeze behind Raymond Rittenauer. Kevin's going to probably start getting a little more aggressive here. And so one thing we haven't mentioned is you have to be careful how aggressive you are on the pushing. So you get that water temp, oil temp too high, and that's going to be the end of your night and possibly the end of other people's nights, depending on where that motor pops in front of the field. Alright, so 11 to go here. Next time by will be 10 to go here at Talladega. Again, right now these top 5 drivers all can make it to the end, and they're all in the mix here with one another. But you can see now everybody's starting to jockey around a little bit more. Charles Johnson, he's going to sneak underneath the 55 of Dean Wilkinson, not for position, but it does give Charles a little bit more position on track here now, able to push just now the 62 of Les Levy. Might be able to try to make something happen if he can maybe push that 62 clear of that 5 and the 87. Might be able to put himself in position and try to win this race here tonight. You mentioned the 53 Quabi Brooks did lose the draft, and unfortunately when you're off by yourself, you are running very slow lap times. Now just was able to get pick up Nick Manfredi, do at least kind of minimize the damage there in that 53 car. So say Quabi's still holding solidly in 6th. Obviously he was right on the edge of making this lead pack, being in the thick of this battle right here for the win. But unfortunately, say just not quite the pit stop he needed there. And when we saw where he had to slow to make sure he didn't hit one of the cars entering his pit stall, so that was what really cost him there. That's where we talked about it's not just the pit entry and exit, it's also getting into your pit stall and being kind of coordinated with one another. And that's where we see that 87, the 5, the 1, the 071. This is where they really can make their damage done, is coordinating those green flag pit stops, kind of staggering apart from one another and just doing everything that they need to do. So right now, again, 9 to go now this time by. Charles Johnson has not been able to push that top line to the front, though. And I think he's going to have a very difficult time working around that 87 of Raymond Rittenauer with Kevin Freeze pushing him. Yeah, say welcome back, guys. Sorry to hear about the power giving you difficulties, but so I know you got to get everything kind of fired up and reloaded. But right now we're crossing line here. We're going to be at 8 to go, and right now it's still Raymond Rittenauer leading the way with Kevin Freeze behind him. Gabe Butler there in 3rd. So Charles Johnson is trying to work that top line to see if he can sneak up into this battle. Right now, kind of fighting for the 4th position with Eric Laurie, but right now just isn't able to get what he needs to make that top group happen, which, again, when you're fighting some of these guys like a Gabe Butler, Kevin Freeze, Raymond Rittenauer, it's gonna be tough sledding to make that happen.
No doubt. Last season, when I was racing with these guys, they made it very difficult. It's very, very difficult. I know it can be done. We'll see if he can do it.
Yeah, it's definitely doable, but yeah, it definitely is not an easy thing to do. So right now, so you can see he's in the 9 car. He's gotten just to about the door of the 1 Gabe Butler. then it kind of goes back and forth a little bit. So say Charles is doing everything he can. You know he's going to do everything he can while he's again trying to push that 62 of Les Levy, but right now just not a lot he can do with that group. And it might be also again maybe it's a little bit of strategy here. It's, again 7 to go at the line. Maybe he tries to wait to really put that big push on the 62. So we talked about the engine temps, the oil temps. If he can time it at the right time to really make that big charge at the very end, that could be where he can make something happen here at the closing stages of this race. Because right now, 7 to go, to the line. It's really, if he makes a move now, and even if he gets to the front, you're gonna see a reaction from the 87, the 5, the 1, the 071. So yeah, you just kind of gotta try to manage it a little bit here. And Duty Mitch, you see there, Jay Hilliard, Peter Trevka, both having hit the pits here as they cross the line here, 6 to go. So again, right now, top 5 inside row are our top 4 drivers. That number 9 car, second car on the outside line, that is our 5th place driver, Charles Johnson. So if you're familiar with the Area 51 Super Speedway Series, you know the level of commitment that those 4 up front have to one another. So they're gonna say basically for them, if a teammate wins, it's a win for all of them, and so they're not gonna risk losing a win if they start fighting amongst themselves. So that's going to be the strategy for these guys, is to figure out when do you make the move if you're Charles Johnson, and can you make the move, but then also do we see the 5, do we see the 1, do one of them, do they maybe try to make a move towards the very end of the race, the last lap potentially, to try and make that move to get the push to the win. So it's all to play for here. So you still got 5 to go here, 4 at the line. But right now, the inside line is holding extremely strong with Raymond Rittenauer leading the way.
I'm just waiting for Charles Johnson to push Les Levy, see what happens there.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to see. I think that's going to be Charles's best chances to really kind of lock onto that 62. The only other thing he could do is if he jumps in behind that 071 Eric Laurie, and then maybe he jumps in front of Les Levy or Jack Walls, whoever it may be. Maybe they lock onto him and push Charles to the front. That could be the other option. Do you mention you see Jim Brooks had to make a pit stop there, could not make it to the end. It was going to be tight to get there, but unfortunately the field numbers just weren't there, so that's going to cost him a couple spots there at the end. Just not tonight. It was looking good a little bit early on, but then unfortunately as things kind of came to a close, just didn't go to plan for him there. And then just to add a little bit of craziness to, you see the 87 Raymond Renner, he's kind of fallen off the ticker here, as they may have had a connection issue. I haven't seen him pop back out on track as of yet. Trying to keep an eye out for that number 87 car, because this is where, as I say, when you have a lag situation like this, you lose all the draft that you had, so you worry about if and where you're going to pop back up into the screen here. So right now, say it's gone from the 4 cars to the 5. And there he is. You see Raymond's back there, but look at how far he's fallen off the back there, Matt. So that's going to put Raymond now pretty much out of this lead pack and possibly out of the draft as well. And that's just a huge, bad luck there for the 87 of Raymond Rittenauer. Was in the perfect spot there, but unfortunately, one of those things we have to fight with these online races is occasionally having some connection difficulties. And that's exactly what we just saw there for the 87. So really unfortunate for Raymond. Still is sitting in the top 5 right now, but of course in that position for possibly getting the win here. But as I said, though, we got 2 to go here, Matt, and it is picking up. You see Charles is locked right. Oh, as I said, a contact between the 62. Caution is going to come out here. That is going to bring us back under yellow, and that is going to change everything here, Matt. So that's going to bring us into green-white checker territory here. So let's go back. We'll see what happened. I think it was just that big push we talked about. Just unfortunately a little too aggressive and just right, unfortunately on the quarter panel there. So we'll go back. We'll take a look at it here.
Yeah, that's the second time this race Charles has spun Sony with aggressive pushing.
So say we're watching the number 9 car here, right behind the 62 of Les Levy here. Saying this is, I mean, it's go time. It's 2 to go. You gotta start making something happen. And so you have to take advantage. You saw Raymond. He had the connection issue. He fell out of that group, and so that's where he said, okay, now it's 4 on 3. We can maybe make something happen here. So we'll watch from the back here. Actually, we'll watch here. We'll hop on board here with that 9 of Charles Johnson. I can see he's right on the back of the 62 of Les Levy, but you see right there, just gets a little bit off center of him, goes catches a little bit on the right side, and that's going to loop him around, unfortunately, right into the path of Gabe Butler and Eric Laurie. I think they may have been able to do a pretty good job of avoiding that, though. Saying Les Levy actually also able to catch his car very quickly, so great hands by that 62 as well. But yeah, it's going to completely shake things up here. As we're going to have now, say, a caution with 2 to go here, which is going to put us into that green-white checker territory, which will be our first attempt of it, which we do have 3 attempts, Matt. So this is going to be very interesting. And, of course, we talked about the fuel window. Can anybody make it to the end, or does anybody have to maybe take this late splash of fuel? But drivers this greatly benefits, though. The 53, Quavi Brooks, the 89 of Matt Quick. They are now back in the thick of this thing, and also a few, also some green-white or drivers, I should say, that got the fast lucky dog might be also be able to get back into the thick of things here.
Yeah, what a huge break for Raymond Rittenauer there.
That's right. Yeah, Raymond Rittenauer as well. He's right back into this.
Wow.
So say, well, you see most of the lead pack here opting not to pit. Jack Walls was one of the first to hit the pit road. Like I said, though, Eric Laurie also, he's in there. But you see, here comes Matt Quick. He is going to top off here as well, get a little bit of fuel, maybe some tires. Quavi Brooks in that group as well. So we'll jump back in just a moment. We'll step away while we're under yellow, and then we'll rejoin you here momentarily. All right, we are back here. Lights are off on the pace car. This is going to be attempt number 1 of up to 3 for a green-white checker attempt. So if you're not familiar, say there are 3 attempts here with the Area 51 Racing League. And the way it works is if a caution comes out before the white flag flies, they will stack them up and try it 2 more times. However, if the white flag flies on any of the 3 attempts, they will race it to the end. However, if a caution comes out on the 3rd attempt before they get to the white, the race will end under yellow. So I think a lot of these guys, Matt, I think they're going to be hoping that this thing goes under the first attempt, because if it goes further than that, I'm a little nervous about for them on fuel. So it's going to be very interesting to see. And like you said, though, the one driver that it really benefited that was in the catbird seat, Raymond Rittenauer, he was leading, had some connection issues. He's now back in the mix here in 4th position. Also brought Quabi Brooks, Matt Quick right into it, and also Dale Willoughby. Dale and Matt actually both pitted under this caution flag, so they are easily good to go on fuel if we have to go those extra laps here. So you see all these guys up front right now. You got those front 7 drivers up all into the thick of things. Do need to mention, that yellow, with Charles Johnson caused that yellow, that puts him at the tail end of the lead lap, at EOL penalty basically for that one. And also Nick Manfredi is the lucky dog, so he's back on the lead lap as well. But you can see all the lap cars between himself and the lead pack. So they're going to probably hoping for maybe a quick yellow to put themselves into the lead pack here on this restart here. But that being said, though, it's going to be all to play for here, Matt.
Yeah, it's go time. Top 3 did not pit. Am I correct on that one?
I believe top 5. Top 5 did not pit, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. I wonder how close they're going to be on fuel.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. So we'll find out. So I feel like they definitely have enough for a green-white checkered for this one. You see they are down and away, and they've got a pretty good start there. Eric Laurie right on the back gearbox of that number 5 of Kevin Cruz. Gabe Butler to the top side, and then you see the rest of these guys all starting to get things back up to speed as they hit turn number 1. You see Dale Willoughby, he's going to jump to the top to pick up Matt Quick. See if maybe they can lock on together and make that tandem happen here on the top side. Because right now, you got Kevin Freeze leading the way with Eric Laurie behind him. Then you got Gabe Butler. Again, here's how that top line going. You see now Dale Willoughby is getting a big amount of push there from the Matt Quick. Bobby's going to jump with him as well. And this could make things get very dicey here in front of these guys here as we come through turns 3 and 4. Possibly getting the white flag here. Alright, as they come through the trial here, Matt, they are going to make the white flag. So we have 1 to go here at Talladega. Just going to be the 1 attempt of a green-white checkered finish. Now, if you're Quabi Brooks, what do? You see there, you see Jim Brooks. He's going to start popping behind the 53. See if maybe they can get that 3rd line going, but they got to get organized quickly if they're going to make it happen. Right now, though, it looks like those two are just not able to make that move happen as of yet. But we'll see if they can get that momentum picked up here as they come down the backstretch. Right now, though, we still got Kevin Freeze leading the way on the inside line with Eric Laurie. Dale Willoughby working that top line there in 3rd, I should say. And you see Quabi Brooks trying to see if he can make something happen with Jim Brooks on the middle of the groove here. But right now, it looks like it's going to be up to this front group here with Kevin Freeze, Eric Laurie, Gabe Butler, Dale Willoughby. Yeah, Matt's doing everything he can, but looks like once they get to the line, though, it is going to be the number 5, Kevin Freeze, getting the win here tonight. Pretty much a dead heat there between Dale Willoughby and Eric Laurie there for 2nd place with the C at the line, who got that position. But yeah, so you saw Quabi Jim, they try to hook up, try to make that 3rd line happen. Wasn't there, though. Kevin Freeze is going to get the win here tonight at Talladega.
Yeah, well done.
So let's go back here. We'll try to take a closer look here to see at the line who was able to get that 2nd position between that 071 and the number 7 there. So we know it was the 2 of them, but we just couldn't tell just how close it was between these guys for that finished position here. It looks like it's going to be Dale Willoughby that just edges out Eric Laurie there for that 2nd spot. You can see at the line there, just maybe a fender. Yeah, maybe like a splitter basically between the 2 cars there. We're going to jump back live as we watch that number 5 of Kevin Freeze. So they may have changed his car number, but he is not going to change his results on the track, getting the win here tonight at Talladega. Here comes a wild Gabe Butler flying through the side there.
One does burnout. They all do burnouts, huh?
Apparently, yeah. As I say, they got a little party going on here, so I think they had the result they were looking for. And actually, I think if you look here on the stats on the, say we saw, we'll pull a ticker back up here. You look on that left side though, so you've got I think all 6 of them in those top 6 positions. So as the team effort goes, I think that's exactly what you'd be hoping for. So I think that's what we're seeing here is those guys taking those top 6 spots tonight here at Talladega.
Very impressive. For just watching this race and learning how everybody does everything, I learned quite a bit just watching this race.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you got to do sometimes with these things. Is these guys? I mean, there's times. I mean, they make it look easy somehow, and yeah, it's you're not wrong on that one. So we're gonna go ahead. We gotta catch our top 3. So we'll start things off with Eric Laurie here. All right, let's go hunt down that 071 of Eric Laurie. All right, so we're gonna pull in that 071 of Eric Laurie, grabbing that 3rd place position. I'll say obviously kind of a wild finish there at the end, and say it was looking really good. You guys were in a good spot there, and then I'll say that 2 to go there, we saw Charles make contact, trying to find his way, push his way to the front there, and then so you had to make some pretty evasive action, quick evasive action there to avoid that. I mean, how crazy was that from your point of view? And then what was your game plan there in that final restart at the end?
Well, I wasn't really ready for that crash there, but I just caught it out of the corner of my eye, and somebody yelled too at the same time, so it was duck and run.
Yeah, it's one of those things where probably it's easier not to have to kind of react to it as much, whereas you can just kind of almost instinct where it's like, oh, there's something happening, you kind of just turn and react. Basically, was that kind of what it felt like, where you just kind of had to do a quick reaction to hopefully get through that?
Yeah, that's basically, yeah.
I was telling Gaio earlier, just watching you guys as a unit, it's very impressive how you guys do it. I'm quite curious how much fuel you all had left in the tank.
Crossing the line and coming around again, I had a gallon left.
Wow, very impressive.
I was saving fuel on the last that stop, so it helped out.
Yeah, every little bit you save definitely goes a long ways. How do you say when we talked about the potential, how tight it could have been on fuel? Had there been that second green white checker to go through, did you feel like you'd be enough to make that second one too, or are you kind of just banking on that one making it to the end and not having to worry about that the potential of 2 more?
Yeah, I didn't think I had enough fuel to do the second green white checker, so it was just go for it and see what we get.
No, say it worked out well. So we saw the team celebration there. It's been. I mean, we see you guys week in and week out up front, but I'm sure tonight was especially just satisfying to have all 6 of you guys in those top 6 positions tonight.
Yeah, it was great. Ray said something after the thing. We were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So great teamwork by everybody.
Yeah, you guys did an awesome job. And I mean, we saw the pit stop cycles. You guys did everything you do. Nailed the pit stops, entry and out, in and out laps, getting into your pit stalls. So, yeah, just great job tonight, Eric. Obviously, a great way to start off season 8 here as well. Definitely want to give you the floor though. Any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for that run tonight?
Oh, well, all the teammates for doing a wonderful job tonight. Couldn't do it without them, and couldn't do it here with even out you and Area 51 doing everything for us.
Well, say enjoy this one. I'll say obviously you got plenty of season left to go, but say obviously the way you want to start things off and get yourself in position for that final eight for the playoffs. So enjoy that third place, and we'll be chatting again with you here soon, hopefully throughout the season.
Alrighty, you guys have a good night.
Congratulations, Eric.
Yeah. I was wondering who was there. I guess it was you.
It's me in the flesh.
Yeah,
Probably a one-time deal, buddy.
I had to bribe Matt over here tonight.
Bribe him.
Bribe me. It's all good. Hey, congratulations, Eric. Good job.
All right, thanks.
All right, now we got to jump over to that number 7 of Dale Willoughby. All right, so pull in that number 7. I'll say, Dale, I know it's kind of an up and down race for you. Say you were up front, you're doing everything you needed to do early on, but then I say that last pit stop just didn't go to plan. Looked like kind of a 4 tires for you versus 2 for everybody else. Put you in a really bad spot without the draft. But I say then that caution came out, and I mean you and Matt Quick, I mean you guys are just on it there, and you got to the top line, and you guys just were going there, and so it felt like if you had maybe another lap or so, you may have been that one position further ahead that you needed there at the end. I mean, take us through that restart.
Through the pit stop, I want to fire my pit crew. I told them no tires and got 4.
No tires, 4 tires, no difference, right?
I guess it made a little difference there on the last restart. I had 4, but yeah, I was looking in my rearview mirror and everybody dove the inside, and I seen Matt out there, and he told me, "Hey, yeah, stay up." And I dove down, got a little draft, and managed to pop back up. Wasn't nobody out there with us, and use that side draft. Thank God Eric Laurie hold the line. Teammate on the inside. It's nice having teammates on the inside know how to hold a line. So we just managed side draft get up there.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, that's what you got to do in those positions. You obviously the aggression is gonna have to ramp up a little bit. You're gonna have to, especially like you said, even it's kind of like the 2 of you versus it feels like everybody on the inside line. There's only so much you could do. And so I mean, obviously on your side, there's only so much you can do. Of course, on the side of also just kind of controlling, just running a smooth line for Matt to stay locked onto you. But I'm trying to remember. Did you also pit there on that last yellow, if I'm not mistaken?
I did. I was just trying to put enough fuel in the tank. On that last time, I tried to put 4 tires on it, and well, I guess I got all the tires I had the time before that, so I wouldn't put them on there. But anyway, tires actually didn't make a difference to be able to cut inside and outside on this hot track that we had tonight. And I think that made biggest difference at the end of it.
Yeah, so that was what I was curious about too. Is we talked to Eric about if he could have gone another restart, and he wasn't sure if he could. Was that something in the back of your mind, kind of like, if we get another caution and say you might be in the catbird 3, was that kind of part of your thought process there for going ahead and getting that splash of fuel too?
Oh, definitely. I was waiting on all 3 green white checkers. Still had a quick repair in the bank. It's nice to be able to hold one. I guess it's going to give me some points going down the road. I didn't get any X's tonight, but the way this works out, it's always a crapshoot. It's super speedway racing.
Yeah. I'm
sorry. Hey, Dale, this is Matt. I'm kind of new up here. Did you think if you had one more lap, did you think you had something for the leaders there?
Maybe, maybe not. The way the track was hot and this setup's kind of loose. Being in the middle's where you wanted to be, and you need to go push it behind you. And yeah, I owe everything to Matt Quick. Did a hell of a job pushing me around the top there. And the practice we had before the race, I learned a lot. That side draft means a whole lot as far as pinching that bottom lane down, and it's an a-hole move to do that, to pinch them down, but that's what you got to do with the fixed up. And that's what I was trying to do. Try to get a little bit off the inside, who's inside of me, and then if the leader in front of you has to move up a little bit to let the car cool behind them, you can gain a little bit off of them. and that's the only reason I made it second place. And I'm lucky. Good job, Team Bootnaka. And I love racing with these guys because I know where they're going to be. I know what line they're going to run, and we just it's just repetitive laps, and that's all it ended up being. That's the only reason I got a second place finish.
All right. Congratulations. Like we said, it was just impressive how you guys you and the guys you run with as a group. You guys are just very consistent, always on point, every single time.
It's a lot of teamwork. It's a lot of practice, and it's a lot of confidence in who you're driving with. Congratulations to Kevin on the win. He deserved it. He had the best strategy. And thank you to you guys for putting this broadcast on. Thank you for Area 51, all the admins that put in the hard work to do what we get to do.
Yeah, you did an awesome job tonight, Dale. Say, like I said, great recovery. So you might have to fire that crew chief, see if you got someone who can listen to you a little bit better. But yeah, great recovery though to grab that second place tonight, man.
Well, I'll take it, man. It's a good start to points. Long season coming up, and I'll take that.
Good job, Dale.
Thank you guys. Appreciate all y'all do for us.
All right, that leaves one left to talk to. That is going to be our race winner in that number 5 this season of Kevin Freeze. So you can change the car number, you can change the paint scheme, but when it's all said and done, Kevin's going to find his way to the front. And so you got a little dicey there at the end, obviously, with you and with you on the inside line. We saw Charles pushing real hard on that top side. Just unfortunately, just didn't quite get lined up in that final push there with 2 to go. And so I brought you guys into green-white checkered territory. So, I mean, I guess the first question is, how close was that from your point of view? How nervous were you? And then, obviously, that final restart. How were you feeling about knowing you had so many teammates around you, but not knowing probably if anybody was going to try to make that move like we saw with Dale Willoughby working on top with Matt Quick? I mean, take us through those last couple laps for you.
Oh, that wreck, yeah, that made me pucker up a little bit. All I saw, like Les and Charles were pushing real hard on the outside. I was just trying to make sure I managed temps enough that if they had a huge run, I could defend it. And then we, green-white checker, we just decided we were going to go early, and then we got the great start, and Matt and Dale did the best thing for themselves by taking that outside line. Pretty smart too, because it pretty much ensured that somebody from the team was going to get the win, and that's the most important thing for us.
Yeah, that's something I talked about during the broadcast, just the unselfishness of you guys, where you kind of work with one another, and like you said, kind of a win for one of you is a win for the team. And I said we saw the team celebration at the end, so we saw it at the end of the season last season. But say to obviously start season 8 off, I say you had all of your guys in that top 6 tonight to kind of sweep the 1 through 6 positions. So I'm not sure if you've done it before. I'm pretty sure you most likely have, but I'm sure that was a pretty good feeling to start the season off here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's great to get everybody started with a good finish. It just helps us build the momentum throughout the year. And I mean, we absolutely nailed our pit stops perfectly tonight, which helped us be in position to take advantage of our track position and control the ending part of that race.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing you mentioned there is the pit stop. So we saw, I think each pit stop you guys lost maybe one person. Like unfortunately we saw Dale, he had the 4 tires versus when you guys took 2. So he's going to have a long talk with his crew chief after that. But then I think there was one other one. I think it may have been the first stop. I think maybe Eric, may have fallen off the group as well. But then you guys were able to still, again, find your way back to one another. And then, of course, Raymond, to say, having the unfortunate connection hiccup where he fell off the pack, and then that yellow brought him back in there as well. So it wasn't all clean sailing for you guys. Had a lot to kind of work your way through, little hiccups here and there. But yeah, when it came down to crunch time, you guys found your way all back up in the front there at the end.
Yeah, Ray's just blinking out right there out of nowhere really woke me up, because I'm pushing him, close it up to his bumper, and then he was gone, and we had no idea where he was. Then he's saying he's inside my car. Yeah, that was not a very comfortable moment for us.
Yeah, and I mean, and it also shows how important the draft is too, because let's say just that lap or two without the draft for Ray, obviously it drops him back about, I think it was about a second or so off you guys to fall out of the draft pack. But I'm sure when you're kind of where you're concerned is like you just don't know when and where that car is going to pop back up, and so of course that's where things get really stressful because you know if a car pops in front of you, sometimes it's okay, sometimes the iRacing contact thing will be like, oh, you're going around, and so yeah, definitely a pretty stressful time there with those coming towards the close of that race there.
Yeah, it only gives you, I think they reduced the buffer in one of the updates to like half a second, so you have to really react quickly, and that normally causes a chain reaction wreck that just would be awful for everybody.
Yeah, so I
Hey,
was
Kevin,
like, yep,
hey,
go ahead.
Kevin,
I was gonna say
it's
Matt
Matt.
should be here.
Yeah, I was gonna. I'm new to this broadcast thing. Kevin, congratulations. I've picked up a few tricks just by watching you and Gabe and Dale, Eric, and maybe next time I'm on the track, I might learn something. You guys are just phenomenal, awesome.
Yeah, the one thing I was noticing with the outside line and what really helped us is when I was on the bottom line pushing Ray around, we weren't pushing all out the entire time, which just helps you keep that buffer in temperature, especially with how hot the track was today, just so you can give that extra when you need it to and know you're not going to spike the temps and be trying to cool for like 2 laps. Because once these things get hot, it's awful to cool them back down.
Were you worried about fuel at all? Was that an issue for you toward the end of the race?
I wasn't really nervous about fuel. If we had probably the third green white checker may have been a interesting moment for us. But I think I finished with like a gallon and a half to spare. It was we were pretty comfortable where we were.
Okay, that clears that up.
The cautions fell at interesting times in the early part because it really made it so you could split up your fuel strategy from where you were going to be, because the first caution I believe was right after our first pit stop, and that made it so we could actually split our stops up almost dead even and helped us just maintain where we were on the track. And coming out, I mean, we came out bumper to bumper, and that's all you want because it helps you gain that momentum and just pull away once you come on.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point. Like I said, that first caution, like I said, was pretty much in the middle of pit stop cycles. I think unfortunately we saw one driver try to get to the inside to pit the previous lap, wasn't able to do so, and then just sputtered a little bit through 3 and 4. He tried to get to the inside as quick, or to the apron as quick as he could, but just, I mean, you know how fast things happen here. You'd lose a couple miles an hour in a short span of time. It's pretty tough to react to it. So. You're right. I mean, that pitting that lap or so earlier, I mean, it really did you guys a benefit there, not having to be in the middle of it. But actually, the other thing I do want to mention before we let you go, though, was the beginning of the race, Matt and I, it was like a fight for who didn't want to be leading. So you guys would kind of get that bonus point and you drop to the back and just kind of try to stay out of trouble, save fuel. I mean, did it feel weird for you guys doing that? Because it was funny that you see one take the lead and then they drop straight back, and so it's like I was kind of laughing at it. It's like just nobody wanted to lead that race. It felt like for that first third or so.
Yeah, for in our chat, we were just trying to get people a bonus point because you don't know what's going to happen throughout the race, and that point could be important in terms of the playoffs as well. And we're just, all right, he got his lap led, we'll push him out, get his lap led, and then it was drop to the back because there's a lot of new faces in here, and you just want to feel out how everybody drives, and that's really the most important thing to learn, especially in the first few races. If you go to different tracks, what their style is, how aggressive, and who you have to be really careful around.
Yeah, so obviously a little bit of a different crowd. Like I said, a few new faces, of course, a few faces missing with the time change. Unfortunately, as they kind of got thrown a wrench a little bit on our plans with the All-Star race coming up here shortly for NASCAR itself. So, but yeah, just great job though tonight, Kevin. I say you guys did an awesome job. Like I said, the teamwork, it's obviously very, very difficult to contend with. So you guys are able to kind of take all those top 6 positions. So yeah, just great job to you, and of course to the whole team. You guys killed it tonight. So definitely wanted to give you the floor, though. Any thanks and shouts that I like to give for that win tonight.
Yeah, huge thanks to you and Matt for putting on the broadcast, all the admin who worked really hard to put these seasons together for all of us. And then a shout out to the drivers. It was a great race, and especially to my teammates. Couldn't get a win in here without them.
I'll say enjoy it. Say obviously long ways to go throughout the rest of the season, but you can race a little more comfortably. Obviously, say the win locking you into that final the 4-race playoff. A little different. Say of course little tweaks to how the championship was last season. So I'll say of course so that win getting you in there. So I'll say it's at least one thing off your shoulders that you can just kind of go and enjoy it. But I say I know, knowing you and knowing what your abilities are, I'm sure we'll be seeing you up front plenty the rest of the way.
That's certainly the game plan. Push some teammates to some wins and let them get some points.
Congratulations, Kevin. Good job.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the evening.
Likewise.
All right, so that is our race winner in that number 5 machine of Kevin Freeze. So now we got to go over our final race results for tonight. So you see Kevin Freeze getting the win over Dale Willoughby there. And then you see 7/1000ths of a second between himself and Eric Laurie for that second and third position. Matt Quick, great job pushing that number 7 up into the second spot. He gets 4th himself. Gabe Butler 5th. Raymond Rittenauer able to recover from that connection issue. Still finishes in the 6th position. And we saw Quabi Brooks worked with Jim as best he could. Try to find a way to get around those guys. Just couldn't get it done, but still brings home a 7th position. Nick Muffretti in 8th. Charles Johnson in 9th. Then you got Dave Thatcher rounding out our top 10. And then some of these drivers, not the nights they were hoping for, obviously. So we saw Jim Brooks with his troubles in 11th. Todd Siebels, Dean Wilkinson, Donnie Lyons, Jack Walls, Jay Hilliard, Les Levy, and Todd Merkel rounding out our 18 drivers here. And then say the last driver in 19th position, unfortunately, a couple extra laps down, Peter Travica in the 19th position in that number 64 machine. All right, Matt. So I really appreciate you hopping on board. It's kind of late notice to help me out with this one, so I didn't have to roll solo. Partner in crime still on the road, traveling back home from having to do some big movements going on. But I know you've got your game plan coming up here pretty soon. So you got season 8 opener on the Indy side on Tuesdays coming up. So take your thoughts for broadcasting tonight, and then what are you looking forward to for season 8 on Tuesdays?
Now, just by sitting up here to see you do it every week, it takes a talent, and I don't have that talent. Thanks for letting me do this with you. It's a hell of an experience just by watching and knowing to catch things really quick, and it's pretty tough. As far as the Indy side goes, man, I'm really looking forward to getting some wins here if I can, because we got some pretty stiff competition. We have a lot of top talented drivers this season, and it's going to take a lot for some wins, and I'm looking forward to Tuesday.
Yeah, you're right. You're going to have some pretty big hitters over there, over in the Indy Series, as I'm looking forward to, like I said, a few new faces, and it's not one of those things where you're just trying to get who you can. So you're going to have some of the best guys out there with the Indy cars. So yeah, you're going to have some pretty stiff competition, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to make everybody up their game that little bit more, and it'll be a lot of fun to catch you guys over there starting on Tuesday.
Looking forward to it. It's going to be fun at the same time. Really frustrating to pass one of the top guys. I know Nick. I highly respect that guy, and we're going to have some great races together. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thank you again, Matt, though. Really appreciate it, like I mentioned. Those that joined tonight, again, apologies for kind of the change of the time. Just wanted to try to help for those that follow NASCAR, wanted to watch the All-Star race, try to not compete or conflict with that one. So I had to make a quick adjustment on that one on the fly. So appreciate those of you that did watch tonight. Look forward to, we'll be back on our normal schedule starting Tuesday through the rest of the season. Of course, the Sunday series, we will be off on July 4th on Sunday, so you definitely want to keep that one available so you can enjoy time with your friends and family. But yeah, until then, we'll be back again on Tuesday night. I hope you enjoyed tonight, And until then, enjoy your evening, and we'll catch you guys on Tuesday. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.